It happened over Chinese food. I looked up at my friend Monica's face and I saw this scowl. Her lips were compressed so tightly, all you could see was a line turned down at both corners. And I recognized that scowl. It took me back, the way an old song will sometimes take you back, to a place I didn't want to go. And when I recognized that scowl, the pieces fell into place, and I realized that my friend needed help. I went online to do research, and I found an online self-assessment from the Mayo Clinic. It asked me things like, do you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep? Do you have trouble paying attention when reading a book or watching television? Have you ever had thoughts of harming yourself or others? Well, this was clearly useless. Anyone with kids would answer yes to all of those questions. But as I sat there thinking, I realized I knew the diagnostic tool myself. Fellow Toastmasters, studies say that 1 in 8 mothers is affected by postpartum depression. I would say that number is probably very low. I think it's vastly underreported because mothers looking at a survey like that would never see their own face. I would not have seen that face. I would not have recognized myself in that survey. I think it's underreported because our friends and families don't know how to recognize it when they see it. But I do now know. And I would like to share with all of you Patti's self-assessment tool, or loved one assessment tool, for postpartum depression. I call it SAD because it has 3 main indicators: the scowl, the afraid, and the doubt. In 2006, when my daughter was born, I was expecting a life as beautiful as a postcard. Instead, my life devolved into something more closely resembling to a painting you might have seen. It's called The Scream. My house looked like someone had turned it upside down and shaken it. And I was home all day with this tiny little person who could neither sit up nor roll over on her own power. And a tiny doorstop, really. And yet I could not keep up with the laundry. I couldn't get the dishes clean. I rarely even took a shower. I felt like a failure. And in those days, I wore that same scowl I saw on Monica. My lips were compressed so tightly you couldn't see the color, and the corners were turned down. Those lips were compressed like that with an effort to hold in the rage. You see, I was furious. I had anxiety, and when you have anxiety, everything looks like a threat everywhere you go. And nobody else in the world saw the threat but me. So every single person alive let me down. You, Mr. talking on yourself, did you not see that your briefcase has bumped into my stroller? Can't you tell that I'm trying to get this baby to go to sleep? And you, arguing woman, watch your language. There are children here. And you, Mr. Smoking Man, don't you cross the street. Don't you come over here. There are babies breathing on this side of the street. I wore the scowl. I thought. I'll lead into my second point, the afraid. It wasn't I that was afraid, although I was terrified. Have you ever thought your friends are a little afraid of you? Mm-hmm. That would be on my questionnaire. Do they seem to be walking on eggshells? It's not just the angry scowl that's making them afraid. I tried so hard to be nice to people when I had postpartum depression. I didn't accept any invitations unless I really felt like I could go out there and put on a smile. And I tried to invite kids over for play dates. My kids loved their cousins so much. And I would invite them over. And those 3 boys would come into my house and they would play with the toys. And they would sometimes put them away in the wrong bin. And the noise. I had to admit, finally, that I wasn't fooling anybody. The day my brother-in-law phoned my husband, his brother, and said, I know you guys don't like our kids. Really, I just didn't like anybody. I still didn't get help. and that was probably because of the doubt. Self-doubt was the most painful part of postpartum depression for me. I did not have faith in anything I do. I was like, I'm a terrible mother. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to kill this child any second. So every action I took, everything I did, I was doing this constant triage, this self-assessment, like, okay, we're going to go out to dinner tonight. It means we've got to pack some clothes. She might poop, we need more diapers, we need more clothes. You might get food on her clothes, we need more diapers, more clothes. 3 outfits, 4 outfits. Okay. What if she doesn't like the food? Oh, grapes. Wait, also, melon? Okay. Who's going to carry all this stuff? I guess we better bring the stroller. And then, inevitably, we'd get to dinner, and something would go wrong that I hadn't foreseen, and who would be beating me up? Me. And my poor husband, poor he suffered. So, self-doubt. When I walk back into my old neighborhood where I lived during the worst of my postpartum depression, I have walked into a twilight zone. In that neighborhood, I can see behind the veil the world that I lived in when I had postpartum depression. It's a world where there's no color, it's gray, and where the wind does not rattle the leaves in the trees and the air smells like desperation. When I walk those lonely streets, I feel the ghost of the empty space that I used to carry here inside my rib cage. And when I feel that ghost, I feel something else. I feel gratitude, because I finally got help and I finally reclaimed my life. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, if you suspect that someone you love may be suffering from postpartum depression, if you see the scowl, if you notice that you're walking on eggshells around her, that she tends to go off a little too easy, if she seems to have lost her confidence, encourage her to get help. Speak up. But depression doesn't just come for mothers, it comes for all of us. So if you should find depression knocking on your door, don't try to battle it out yourself. Call your doctor, save your life.